I think there's positive news when it comes to XCN. Let me explain why. Not too long ago, Onyx, they made a post on X and it said that they're thrilled to announce that the new multi-chain version of the Onyx smart wallet is now live on the Google Play Store. And also, keep in mind, below that, it says that Apple soon. I like this. I think it's a major victory, and I think it's a step in the right direction. However, some people like to say, oh, who cares about this? Well, I care about it because I even saw a statistic not too long ago that when it comes to the Google Play Store, in 2024, at one point, there was over 2 billion monthly users. That's a lot. Not to mention, Apple soon. Man, can you imagine how this could hypothetically give Onyx a lot more exposure? And again, that statistic that I talked about when it comes to the Google Play Store, that was back in 2024. Imagine the numbers right now. So anyway, take a look at it. I think this is, again, a step in the right direction when it comes to Onyx. Now, granted, some people may be saying, oh, a lot of other projects out there have wallets. Who cares about this? I'll agree with that because it's not like Onyx is the only one that has a wallet, right, when it comes to this space. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a good step for Onyx nonetheless because imagine when XCN first had that rally not too long ago. We have to think about what was the major thing that Onyx had going on for it. I would argue that fundamentally, there wasn't that much. Let's just think about it. When XCN first had that rally, I feel like the big narrative at that point was that this is kind of like a similar version of Ripple and Stellar when it comes to Onyx, but then XCN, of course, way lower market cap. I felt like the buzz was because of that. I felt like kind of the attention, the hype was more so related to that. It wasn't more so related to, oh, Onyx is doing this or it's having that. It wasn't really like that. So now that I feel like there's more to kind of grasp onto, right? Like, for instance, news like this, and also we take a look at what Onyx V2 could hypothetically be for the future of Onyx, not to mention also Goliath, and how that could very well also be massive for the future of Onyx. Like, the mainnet is expected to launch in Q1 of next year. Goliath is a supposed day one blockchain for the world of finance. Now there's more to latch on to as opposed to back then, arguably, in my perspective. And again, even though the price of XCN right now is lower than before, I would arguably say that the fundamentals of Onyx feels better to me right now. So when people like to say, oh, if XCN went down in price, that means the fundamentals became bad. I actually disagree with that because I think if anything, it became better. In this space, it's not that when the price goes down, in a lot of cases I see, it's because the fundamentals became worse. Now, in some cases that may be the case, but in this case, I would arguably say that I don't think it is, because we just have to take a look at it. Onyx is actually accomplishing more now, in my opinion, than before, arguably. So if XCN was able to do that back then, what could it do if there was a fully fledged type of altcoin season? This is my perspective. When it comes to the idea of 25 cents, that's still on my mind when it comes to XCN because I don't think the market cap is that crazy in the grand scheme of things. I mean, at that point, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8.5 billion. There are some meme coins out there that many people think could far exceed this in terms of market cap during a hypothetical fully fledged type of altcoin season. So it's not something too ridiculous. However, some people like to say that, oh, take a look at what this microcap can do and all this. I'm not looking for microcaps. So if I was looking for a microcap anyways, XCN wouldn't even be something I would consider. What I'm looking for is basically a project with a pretty okay market cap, but not too massive, but then not a microcap. However, at the same time, with a good community, with good fundamentals, and pretty good exposure. And I think even though XCN really hasn't become kind of mainstream yet in a way that something like Ripple or Stellar has, for instance, I still like its position, and I'm not really looking for, market caps that are too massive anyways. So this is what I'm looking for, and this is just my criteria. Now, again, people may be looking for a different project, but I'm just talking about my perspective when it comes to the projects that I do like, and Onyx is one of them. Now, Onyx, I think it's in a pretty unique position because beyond Ripple and Stellar, which is the number one and number two when it comes to projects that are focused on payments and global trade and finance, XCN, or should I say Onyx, I don't think has that many competitors in the grand scheme of things. Yes, we have XDC, ZBCN, or should I say Zebec. There's also Onyxcoin and as well as XPR. But that's like 4 other than this. It's not like there's 10, 20, or 30 that are reputable, at least in my perspective. So during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, I think especially this time around, I've kind of seen how hypothetically there could very well be a trend where people look for projects that are alternatives to XRP and XLM, but then still kind of, in that same space and then with a lower market cap. Because take a look at what happened to XCN not too long ago. Take a look at what happened to ZBCN, SwiftCoin, XPR, XDC. We saw them achieve a moment of, I would say, a little bit of momentary brilliance, but then it wasn't really like something too, I think, incredibly like what we could hypothetically see during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, maybe. So I've already kind of seen that trend happen a little bit. So again, if the altcoin season was way better, to me, I don't want to ignore XCN, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Nothing I say is financial advice. However, as of right now, I'm going to stay patient because, of course, when we saw altcoins not too long ago, it was doing okay. Now there's a slight pullback. People are like, oh man, the altcoin season over and all this. Well, here's the thing. I will not be able to know the exact moment in time XCN is going to do this or do that. However, all I can do is quite essentially just maybe try to take a chance, and that's it. It could not be good. It could maybe be good. Who knows? But I am willing to still believe in XCN because I like the fundamentals of Onyx, and I like the market position that it's in, how it doesn't really have that many competitors for the market that it's focused on. So all I'm doing right now is staying patient, dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. And again, just not necessarily wanting to know the exact moment in time XCN is going to do this or do that, but it's just preparing. So for then, let's say there's a moment in time it maybe does something or that next leg up, hypothetically, I'll be prepared. So it's all about preparation for me. It's not about knowing the exact moment in time. It's just about preparing. And I'm going to prepare as of right now, but in the grand scheme of things, I do like the news that I recently saw when it comes to Onyx, and I think it's a pretty good victory in the grand scheme of things. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain. I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.